You retweeted this. This image has broken the psyches of hundreds of thousands of 18 to 24-year-old men who do not touch grass. Scroll down, scroll out, or actually that's fine right there. So this is, Nick, and show us the hypergamy chart now. All right, so this is typically the way this is more easily, make us smaller, please. This is typically how this infographic is presented, not the weird cube one or block one or whatever. So on the left, you have whom men would happily partner with, and on the right, you have whom women would happily partner with. Well, I mean, this is actually, you say, I mean, you retweeted that tweet, so I assume you agree with it.
I agree.
I mean, this is actually a phenomenon.
Yeah, I agree. It exists. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I just think that men would rather, especially respectfully on podcasts like these, they would rather blame the women instead of looking internally and saying, okay, what can we do to improve? Because a lot of, and I'm not saying,
but that is female hypergamy.
What do you mean?
Well, women don't just tend to accept men as they are. Men have to level up in various ways.
Don't you think if you're supposed to be fit to lead a home, you should have you should be a very strong, intelligent, educated man, and there's a lot of not those.
Would you not be frustrated if women
had to not be a nagging wife, right? That one of the things that you'd bring to the table.
Well, it seems like men will just go for anything, though.
Let them finish.
Maybe something you bring to the table would be humbleness, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the ability to back off a little bit on criticisms, things like this.
Jesus Christ was a humble servant to his church.
Serve your husband.
Yeah. So one of the things that I look at when I see a chart like that, so it's showing the top three. If you pull the chart back up on the right, you say hypergamy is real and it's correct. It's men's fault because they're not dressing as nice, they're not, doing their hair up as good, they're not going to the gym as much.
They don't work on themselves. They'd rather just blame it all on women. So it's all a women problem.
Right.
And while there are no doubt women who definitely do contribute to hypergamy, I don't think that if men as a whole actually worked on themselves.
Wait, I actually think men are more involved in self-improvement than women are, because men get beat down constantly. A man can't just sit there and be delusional. I'm a 10, I'm a 10, I'm a 10. He's going to have life slap him in the fucking face. I would actually argue you have a society that's, that's against like the fat shaming shit. Oh, you're beautiful at any size. Actually, I would argue that women who make poor choices and who refuse to self-improve, they get coddled, whereas men get slapped in the fucking face if they're just going to be fat slobs.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But I don't necessarily think that men as a whole are doing the best they can. Are doing the best they can to attract women.
Who's more likely to be focused on their physical fitness, men or women?
That's I think right now it's men, but I think women, honestly, we have a lower sex drive, and therefore I think it's more important for the man to be more attractive.
Not true. That women have a lower sex drive. That's a myth.
Is it
Wait,
a myth?
I might disagree with you on
Yeah.
that.
I think that's true.
No, it's not. It's not true that women have a lower sex drive.
What?
It's true. So,
Well, what about the testosterone?
But why do
the testosterone thing is interesting, right? It's an argument that I used to make, right? So people always ask, "Can you change your mind?" Yeah, I can change my mind. I used to make the same argument that take a look at testosterone. That's true, but women, they require less testosterone. They still have testosterone, and they just require less of it. And when their balance of testosterone is where it needs to be, yeah, they're just like men. When in that regard, they just require less of it. So it's an interesting phenomenon, but the more that they're looking at it, the more they think, it's not nearly as lopsided as we thought.
So it's possible that my perspective on this might be a little bit warped because I come from a Jewish community where it's like, girls are not supposed to be sexual.
Not the highest testosterone community, maybe.
Yeah. So, I mean, especially among the females,
Isn't that
right?
good?
Women aren't supposed to be like partaking in that sort of stuff. So that might frame my viewpoint.
Well, not just that. It might not just be that, but it could be your hormones too. Like, have you taken birth control?
I did. I didn't like it.
So I mean that throws women's hormones off constantly, messes them all up, messes their sex drive all up.
Yeah, but before and then after it's the same, right?
No.
I'm speaking from personal experience for me.
Well,
like
okay.
before
you mean before you took it?
Yeah, and then after, and then I got rid of it.
I'm
just
saying. Just saying, it could be chemicals, could be all kinds of different things. But your experience definitely seems to be an exception to what we usually hear on here.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that if men as a whole did put more energy into their looks, I want to pull up my Twitter just to show you, but there's one video of a guy who went to go get a haircut. His hair was just like, I don't know, he just looked like a random average dude, and then after the haircut was done, he looked like a 10 out of 10. And like, it's really just as simple as like putting some energy in, find the haircut that works for your face, find a fashion style that you like and makes you, like, flatters your features. Go out looking like you actually intentionally tried, because that's what women do, and that's why we're attractive. Because we actually put effort into our looks.
But I mean,
I totally agree with you.
If you look at the effort on the other side, it sure seems like they're putting in a lot of effort. Putting in a lot of effort to make more money.
That's what I'm saying.
And
that's what I was telling you before.
Putting in a lot of effort to get better cars, get better clothes, go to the gym.
Direction.
It's crazy.
So I think them wanting to obviously.
I mean, you got guys right now. You got an entire industry, these pickup artist crazies, right? And they are selling men hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of courses so that they can learn how to do all that shit you just talked about.
Yeah, and meanwhile, if they literally just invested 20 minutes into their looks like every day, it would.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to have some kind of guide for that, right? So that's how they're able to make. That's how they're able to make that kind of cash. But I mean, men are investing tons into this kind of stuff.
I would rather have my man focus on
tons of money, tons of time, and tons of effort
into fashion.
Not just fashion, but working out. Right, working out, self-improvement. That's a huge thing in society right now for young men. Self-improvement.
I think it's misrepresented to them. I think what they view as self-improvement is not necessarily, and same for women. By the way, I'm gonna apply it to both sides. I think a lot of people on both sides put their energy in the wrong place and call it self-improvement when it's not.
Yeah, but I don't understand, because the things that you say are the place to put it in.
Well,
that's where they're putting it.
Having a job to sustain yourself isn't something you should be doing for women. That's something everybody should just be doing in general, right? So that's not something someone should pat you on the back for. No, I'm not talking about a job, but you're saying the self-improvement of looks. But it's called looks maxing, and it's a big deal. That's a huge part of self-improvement for men. Now it's becoming more of a big deal. I think that's a good thing.
It has been for years.
It doesn't even have to just be looks maxing. It's just grooming in general. Like, a lot of men just
But that's looks maxing, right?
Not really. That's like.
How's it not?
Like, I'm talking about like hygiene and stuff like that.
That's looks maxing. That's everything.
But I don't think we want to go to that other. There's another extreme for this.
Hygiene, though.
Yeah, but there's another extreme. You swing the pendulum the other way, and we have these soy boys who are waxing their eyebrows and wearing makeup, and that's nasty. I'd rather my men focus on making the money so that I can stay home with our children and maintaining their physical bodies so that they can be my protector and provider. So, like, the whole look thing, I feel like is so
most attractive men in Hollywood.
Girl, you've been talking the whole podcast.
I'm done. No, it just keeps going. Never end.
I wonder if this is a problem in relationships for you.
No, you just talk. Like they talk about that having a nagging wife.
Breaking Bad.
Literally that right now.
I just want to watch Breaking Bad. Can you kindly zip it? Okay.
You're right. I'm sorry.
No. Okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
saw.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it.
Wait, I have a question for you. No. You say the guys, they have to like make themselves look better, but like not average. Like, would you date an average guy?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
What do you mean,
if he's
maybe?
nice to me, if he tries.
Let's say
if he
he's
has
nice
a good personality and he's charming, yeah.
Let's say he's got an averagely nice personality and he's pleasant.
Okay, if you're all average all across the board, probably not. No. You need something to stand out. if you're gonna be average on look, why? Because who wants to date like?
Aren't you average?
I guess everybody's average, but when you're trying to present yourself to somebody, you don't really want to be average.
But you know what? You've actually just made the case for female hypergamy. You're, in my estimation, you strike me as a fairly average woman. I'm not saying that to be insulting. Yet you need a guy to set himself apart, to be more than just average.
I don't. I just
you
need
just
him
said
to
it.
put a little effort into his looks, because no guy does that. If you're putting effort into your looks, you're already above average for a guy.
First off, I would actually argue. Hold on. That.
Some comments, please.
Hold on. We'll get to it. I would actually argue when it comes to physical appearance, women have far more rigid standards when it comes to body types they want in men.
I'd probably agree with you.
So.
That's fair.
And also, if we're talking about like societal influence or societal impact, beauty standards, blah, blah, blah. We hear this a lot from feminists. I would argue that depictions of aspirational body types for men are far harder to attain than what you see of women.
That I would kind of say it's pretty equal. I think
Absolutely
men
not.
struggle with body image issues, especially ones who care enough to go to the gym and do whatnot, all that jazz. I think they struggle similarly to girls who also either have eating disorders or put in all that energy to go to the gym and whatnot, right? I think it's a pretty similar struggle in that regard.
Well, okay. Let's look at superhero movies, right? Like the female leads in these superhero movies, I would argue that their physique is achievable by 90% of women.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's just ignorance.
They have maybe a little bit of muscle, maybe.
Yeah, but then you look at Aquaman. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
look at his
so
standard.
I agree with you on that, but I'm just saying
that's what I'm arguing.
It's unachievable.
That's what I'm
you're
arguing.
acting like every single supermodel woman is achievable for a girl. That's not true.
It's more achievable. It's more achievable for women.
I think that's probably equally, because if you want a supermodel girl, she's gonna have to go to the gym and work out just the same.
No.
Yes, she is.
Hold on.
You cannot be a supermodel and not go to the gym and work out.
Actually, I would argue
that
that the female body that 80-90% of men would deem, it might not be the ultimate, but the female body that is extremely achievable, that 80 to 90% of men would find attractive, which is just a woman with a low body fat percentage.
But women
without any, even without any, well, actually, if I show you pictures of bro, they're fucking thin, dude. Hold on.
They're thin, but they're strong women. You have to maintain that. That's not something that just comes easily.
Those
and
chicks
also,
are not
a lot of women have stomach problems and things that cause bloating and other issues. It's not just a matter of, I'm just thin.
Yeah, but every woman at this table would be acceptable to the majority of men.
Yes,
our
but
side.
women hold them.
I don't know.
Until we take our clothes off. Until we take our clothes off.
No, that's not
Look,
true.
I think naked men would still take all of us, whereas with men, we're so judgy on them.
I think women hold themselves to a higher standard. I think, even if men, I mean, this is true because
Why do you think women hold themselves to a standard
beauty.
in the world we live in?
Beauty.
Okay, just beauty.
Yeah. I'm just talking about beauty.
Okay.
Women hold themselves to a higher beauty standard than men do. That's why you see the discrepancy, right?
Well, you're
and
using a specific term there, beauty.
If
we're talking about
beauty.
Well, men's standards is a bit different because men aren't really looking for beauty.
Yeah,
they're looking. Okay, let's talk about physique then. Let's remove facial whatever from it. The female beauty standard that feminists cry about is more than obtainable for 90% of women. Flat stomach, maybe a little bit of muscle tone, healthy BMI. That's the extent of it.
Okay, and meanwhile, half of America is obese.
Cool, but that's for both men and women.
Yeah, but
now
that's what I'm
the
saying.
male beauty standard, guys, stop with the fucking.
Attractive.
Oh my God, stop with the sidebars. The male beauty standard that's rarely challenged by the mainstream media is literally unobtainable without 2, if not 3, of the following things.
I agree with you.
Elite genetics, steroids, and 5+ years of treating the gym like a part-time job.
I agree with you, which is why I think it's detrimental.
Nick, you had some photos? Let's see some photos. All right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's detrimental.
Next.
Right there.
Next. Okay, I think he was
That's why
definitely
I think it's
he was on cue.
detrimental.
And let's see the women. Bro, you go to a fucking college town, bro. The girls be looking you could find this. This is like.
I think it's detrimental to suggest that the only way a man can improve his looks is by going to the gym.
Look like that because they don't.
Right? There are other ways.
That's an attraction trigger in women is strength and muscularity.
Sure, but that's not the only thing, right? If a man
is there another one, Nick?
Where's
Scar Joe?
Body, that doesn't make
Bro,
a
you could
difference.
see this. This is a normal. She's attractive, right?
Yeah, but these women have to work really hard before they go into movies. They don't look like that when they're in the movies. That's their average body, but people train really hard for these movies, and they get bigger.
Bro,
even those men, they go through training so that they look the way they want everyone else to perceive them.
Do you think it's the same though? Do you think
he's just saying that it's more achievable for most women to look like that than it is for most men to look like Hugh Jackman?
No, that's there's no way I could go to the gym
What's more achievable?
and look like that very, very, very easily within a few weeks if I wanted to. go back to Hugh Jackman for many reasons. My husband would have to work for 3 months eating completely clean, taking supplements, on a protein, on a strict diet, with a trainer twice a day to even try to look like that.
Everything. It's like that's...
So I don't disagree with you. I just think that there are other ways a man can try to improve his looks, which is mainly his fashion and his hair, which again,
what was the
was
there something else we were going to pull up, Nick?
I don't think if men change their fashion and their hair, female hypergamy is going to go away. That's insane.
I totally agree with you on that. There's a video on my Twitter that literally shows a guy who has the worst hair ever. He looks like a maybe 5 out of 10. Then he gets a haircut and he looks.
You got baited.
So
you
good.
just like those.
I didn't get baited.
Yeah,
it's
you
just
got baited.
true.
It's the same thing as
It's
those
just
Asian
true.
chicks who go in and they do all their makeup up and they look like 10s and they
so if
take
I
all that
shaved
shit
my
off
head-
and they're 3s and you're
If
like,
I shaved my head, you
what the
think
hell
I'd have
just
just
happened?
an easy time finding somebody to have sex with if I just decided to shave my head?
yeah, you probably wouldn't have much trouble.
Just as now, it'd be equally as easy.
For you to what? Go out and
find a guy to fuck?
I bet you anything that if you walked over to a guy, you can even run this experiment. You go out on the street, find some random guy and go, hey, you want to come back to my apartment and fuck? And he'll be like, sure. And then you go home and you shave your head, go to the same guy the next day and ask him, he'll do it again.
Well, if I go to a
Men are
different guy and ask
forged in
him,
the
will he do
fires
it?
of
Yeah, he probably
society
still will
and the
too.
inner battles of the soul. We have no intrinsic values and have to build ourselves up from one, whereas women just need to show up.
Completely agree.
I mean,
Yeah, probably.
And I'm personally okay with that. I would really like to
you
just
guys-
show up. I
think
would rather
need
you
to
guys do all the
engage
hard work
on the
and
other
do what
side
you
of
do.
things, because women have like very similar feelings about men on the other side, right? Especially rad femmes, and like the further feministic you go, right?
let's do the dating